Hello, welcome to Logic Apps Live.
Yes, Christmas edition. Ho!
Ho,
Ha. Oh, I blew my line.
Oh,
We
man.
rehearsed that.
Okay. All right, always fun with production and
It's
Logic
always
Apps Live.
really easy, right?
yeah, of course.
It's just,
YouTube
that's
never
why
changes
we're
anything.
4 minutes late. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to go bring up a deck, and in the meantime, John's going to chat about what we've been doing.
Am I? Should I play some music? Tell some jokes?
Yes, of course.
Where's the deck, David? So it's been a while. I think right at the end of September. So we broadcast live from Ignite today. Sweet Jim.
It's fun.
Candy canes.
The candy
You
canes.
guys can't
Didn't even
even
see
see.
what the other
I
camera.
know. I know.
Hello.
Spend some time buying some beauty.
Slow.
Yeah. It is.
Time. What we're going to do is start talking to the deck while I bring up.
Let's do that.
And what we should say is obviously we're, if you pick those up, so tweet us at Logic Apps EO.
Yeah.
It's not
It
like-
isn't practicing your webcast skills.
No, obviously not. So the big thing that we've been working on is the integration service environment private preview. It's live today, and so we have some folks. You can join the private preview as well, and if you want to let us know that you're interested, you can go to the docs page for which is the integration service environment, and there's a button there to go ahead and. So we've announced that we were working to start doing some analysis how the Logic gets certain smarts about which action we think you want to do next in your development of Logic Apps even faster. The next one is the HTML control. So now that, for example, if you want to send a message over email and you want to have rich text like bold and underline and italics, now we give you that control right in the designer to go ahead and add that type of formatting to your message so that when you send that message, it's not some plain text or ugly HTML. You can actually see what the format is right in the designer. Very cool. I'll be showing you a demo of that, hopefully.
Yeah.
All
We'll
the stuff
figure out
working.
which buttons to
That,
press.
we'll show you that later.
Yeah. The next one is, and this has been an ask for a while, so we've now done it, which is XLT output declaration. So for those of you who want control over the output and not just output XML, but use the other options available, we have that surfaced now for you as well to be able to emit essentially text in any format besides just XML. So you could actually author, flat text out of XLT now.
Next big one is resubmission tracking. So now you can be able to, when a Logic app is resubmitted, if you guys didn't know we had that feature, we do have that feature, so you can resubmit previous runs. We now emit something called a source trigger history name in that run, so then you can see that it was resubmitted and what the original run ID was of that Logic app. So you can go ahead and get that data right from your run itself, and then determine if this was a rerun of a previously run Logic app.
The next one is, and this is handy, so I know you can't see the slides, so this is the ability to be able to specify a content link for maps for both XLT and Liquid. So the ability to point at the file itself instead of actually having to kind of use the current mechanism to do that, give you a more streamlined way for deployment. So now you can push your maps to storage and link to that from the actions to run the maps, both XLT and Liquid, to make it easier for deployment and management. I'll take the next one as well, which is around, which is, thanks, Kev. So this is more EDI improvements to the platform. So for both X12 and Edifact, we now have the ability outbound to be able to use multiple transaction sets when you're encoding to support more interchange capabilities, more sophisticated scenarios, and that's gone out as well recently.
And we have more work done in VS Code. So we've added the ability. So before we've done some great stuff, so you can get some IntelliSense and be able to write in that code view and write in JSON in VS Code. Now we give you that visualization of that with the designer in VS Code. You can't edit the designer yet, but at least we show you what that view is.
And we show it side by side with the code view as well, right? Which is pretty cool to play around with that and let us know what you think.
That's pretty cool. One of the things that we had announced, and we'll show a slide later just to remind everybody, is that the is that the Azure Scheduler service is being deprecated and will deprecate in September of 2019. But towards that, we've created some collateral and logic apps to help you with that transition. So there's a quick start template that allows you to create millions of different scheduled logic apps. So instead of mapping a scheduler job to a logic app resource, you can now create a pair of logic apps that's smart enough to handle all those different recurrent schedules, and they're just instances of logic apps. And then paired with that, there's a new designer template that helps you manage multiple instances with correlations. And so even if you're not doing scheduler stuff, there's some really interesting patterns and advanced capabilities in that quick start, as well as that designer template. So if you wanted to see some tips and tricks of how to do some advanced capabilities in logic apps, go check those out. We have a lot of new connectors, and we have a lot of third parties coming in and writing their own connectors and submitting them to logic apps. And so we have Runcore, Parser, Stormboard, Zahara, SoftOne, all these great connectors.
Nobody can see.
That nobody can see, but I'll say.
But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 14 new connectors just since we last spoke to you guys. And we're going to keep going on this. We said this, I think repeatedly for the last couple of years, right? We've gone from, 20, 30 connectors 3 years ago to over 200 now. So we're just going to keep piling on that.
Like 250.
Yeah. So tell us which connectors we need. We've add them to the list. We've prioritized based on feedback, and we'll get to them.
The one very cool one at the bottom of the list, which will feed into the next point that we'll talk about, is the Ethereum connector. And the reason why that's so interesting is that the blockchain guys, the blockchain workbench folks, have put out a blockchain developer toolkit. And in that developer toolkit, it's mostly based on how you can use logic apps to advance your blockchain capabilities, including a new Ethereum connector. So this is really cool stuff, especially as you're getting started into blockchain, and how easy logic apps will make it so that you can do your blockchain transactions, not only through Ethereum, but through other funds as well.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. And there's a whole bunch of blogs and docs on that, so you can go party on blockchain and then make logic apps that thing. Okay, so we have a lot of new stuff coming. A lot of stuff in progress. Let's see. Now, I talked about the ICE private preview. Obviously, the next thing that comes after that is ICE public preview. So the integration service environment, early in the new year, will go into public preview, and then everybody will get to see it. You don't have to sign up. You just get to go and party on that. The next one that everybody's been waiting for quite some time, and it's not just something we're saying we're going to do soon. It's actually in development. It's going to be done pretty early in the year, January, February, because I know it's in development, is static outputs, formerly known as mock outputs. So you'll be able to take a logic app in a particular action and fake what the output is for that action. And instead of actually calling and executing that action, it will just return the output for that. And that gives you the ability to do things like test certain paths in your logic app, test certain outputs that action could have had without you having to affect the backend system. And in effect, disables that action so that instead of calling that action, it'll just skip over it and then continue to run. So if nobody consumes the output, then it's just as if you disabled it. But you can still reference these kind of static outputs that you configure on that as well. A lot of people get confused between the ability just to disable versus static outputs. You can accomplish the same thing with that. Yeah. One that's just around the corner is delete a run. So there are a bunch of scenarios where you might want to go to an existing run and remove it from your store. For example, if you're an ISV and you have a customer and then they leave your platform and due to some compliance requests, you need to go delete that info, you can go and delete runs from the store. handling many parameters. So one of the things that Logic Apps is really good at making simple, how to pass tokens from one action to another. But some connectors have lots and lots and lots of parameters. Lots. So then your screen fills up and you have to scroll forever to find the one you want. And so we recognize that's a pain point. So what we're doing is we're working on the ability to handle lots and lots of parameters. So you don't see, usually you only care about 10% of those and not the 100 other amounts. So we will create an experience so that you can be picky about the properties you care about and save all that screen real estate and scrolling that you have to do and searching for those properties. Yeah. Next.
Tracking for batch triggers. So if you use the batching actions in Logic Apps, we're now emitting additional, or will be shortly emitting additional tracking data to enable you to push that to Log Analytics or Event Hubs or wherever you want to send it, and get that kind of information to correlate the batching actions and operations in your log data and surfacing those up in the dashboards that we provide as well. VS Code integration account support is another thing we're working on right now, which, we told you about one way that we've just enabled to be able to use content links to point to maps in your integration account. Another way we're going to make it easier to use integration accounts through the VS Code integration to actually be able to add the files into the integration account in your VS Code project, and then to be able to deploy that. We'll deal with the fact that you're creating an integration account and then you're creating artifacts in the integration account and pushing those to the integration account that you created.
That's so cool. And remember, VS Code is open source. You can go party on that if you see it. If you really want a certain feature in that, go ahead and party on it, and our guys will go ahead and accept those pull requests.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing we're working on is getting the SAP connected to general availability, and this is something it's very high priority for us right now to get that out. We know a bunch of you are waiting for this. We have a lot of customers using our SAP connector that we previewed earlier in the year, so getting that to GA is a priority for us right now and isn't too far away. The next one is RosettaNet. Yeah, I don't know if we talked about this. Have we talked about this before? I don't think we've talked about this before. No. Yeah, so we have X12 and Artifact support and AS2, and we've had those for a while. We're working on additional B2B formats.
For all your B2B dorks out there.
Yeah, you keep calling me a dork. You realize what you do.
Oh, is that you? I'm sorry.
So we have RosettaNet coming next. And this is pretty cool because it follows the same model as we have for the other B2B capabilities. So the kind of the ability to kind of create the trading partners and model that, but obviously with the full out-of-the-box support for all the RosettaNet interactions, all the standard formats that's used, so you can just focus on the logic of the integration you're building and not have to worry about the protocols and what it looks like on the wire. So that's
say dark, but this stuff is really cool. Being able to take classic messaging systems and do supply chain management all through Logic Apps and all.
You're just jealous because you don't understand any of it. Right? That's what it is.
I am jealous, but I do understand it. The next two big things we have is, we are in Azure Government today, but we're only in Texas. The next two regions for Azure Government that we're releasing is Arizona, which is coming just around the corner, and then followed by Virginia. So we will be in all the interesting regions in Azure Cloud coming soon.
Yeah.
Right. We got a bunch of connectors.
Yeah, loads of connectors.
In the hopper.
Yeah, loads of
really
connectors.
Interesting ones too.
And some of these calling these connectors isn't really doing them justice.
Yeah,
so the top one I'll just spend a few seconds talking about is our IBM connectors. I actually did a demo of some of this, gave a sneak peek at Ignite. So I think that session's recorded, it's online on Channel 9. This is initially our IBM screen scraping connectivity for green screens, for 3270 screens. Now, the reason this isn't just about connectivity is because it follows a different path to the way the rest of our connectors work, which is usually against an API that we have, either it's SOAP-based, REST-based, or something else, and then unifying that through our designer. We're doing the same thing here, but being able to drive the application screens on a mainframe first, and we're doing 5250 next, so you can drive an application through its user interface, not through its API. But from a Logic App point of view, you don't need to know any of that. The experience you will get is the ability to record an application in the interactions. It will harvest not just the inputs and outputs of that, but the navigation map of that as well. So it'll understand the flow between the different screens in these applications and generate a new type of map, which will go in the integration account. And then the author of the Logic app just references that and then can drive the screens of the mainframe on the back end, which of course can be, it's going to be on premises, right? I'm going to say could be on premises, but it's probably going to be on premises because they're kind of heavy. It's hard to get those things up in the cloud.
They don't float very well.
You've got to attach a lot of helium balloons to those things, get them off the ground. But it's going to make a new experience. And for those of you who kind of track this space, this is really around this kind of robotic process automation capability. The idea that driving applications through their user interface and making that easy from an integration platform point of view is one of our goals. And this is the first manifestation of that, being able to record application interactions, being able to generate all the metadata from that, and then just creating a Logic app just like you would any other Logic app that connects to Salesforce or Dynamics or Office or something else, actually connecting to the IBM mainframe and driving the inputs and outputs of the screens on that. So pretty cool stuff. That's coming our way as well. So these are all in progress, but this one's actually pretty soon, which is why it's at the top of our list.
The next one is the IoT Hub connector.
Another cool one.
That's very cool, and it's actually done. It's just not released yet. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's how close it is to being released. We're working with the IoT Hub team to go and create some collateral, and they're kicking the tires on it right now. And so, once we're able to go and push new stuff out, because we're in the dark zone for
Yep.
releases except for fixes, of course, that you'll see that right in the new year. A couple more that people have really been asking for. This next one, Azure.
This is like right up there on our user voice, right? It's been
Yes.
for a while, a whole bunch of direct customer requests and interactions for this one.
Yeah, so we got this one now. It's the Azure Key Vault connector. It's 99% done. I think just in code review. So that's going to come out pretty soon in the new year. And then we have three more interesting ones that we've hinted at in the past, but are actually now in development and will go out soon after the Key Vault connector. Amazon SQS, Amazon S3, and Amazon SNS. So for those that want to have a more multi-cloud experience and be able to bring data across those clouds, we now access those Amazon resources for you so that those things are available, data and messages alike.
Yeah, and this is part of a growing theme, which, hopefully you guys are seeing, that we understand that, as integrators and people who are kind of connecting things together, you need the right connectors to the right platforms, not just the right technology that run on those platforms. So this is why we have VS Code support too. So now, all of these capabilities enable you as a Mac owner to install VS Code on your Mac, install VS Code on Linux, build integration solutions and deploy them to Azure, which now connect to other clouds as well, connect to IBM mainframes on premises, connect to all these kind of heterogeneous distributed systems that you have in a standardized way with an integration platform that's agnostic to all of this, kind of moves the complexity out of the way and allows you to use your favorite tool set, your favorite operating system to build integration solutions and deploy them. This is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
fantastic. And then we have a bunch of other connectors in the hopper as well from other Azure services and third parties. The Azure Consumption Management one, it's actually been in development for a while, but they've changed some names and stuff, so it's going to have to do some resets.
so what will that let you do?
That will allow you to set alerts when your monetary limits start going above things in your subscriptions, and you get to set certain events. If something in a resource group, a particular resource type is starting to consume too much money, you get to configure that in that connector, and then Logic Apps gets to react to that and start sending emails or start sending alerts or shut things down. So you can start automating that with Logic Apps once those alerts pop up. So that's going to be a pretty cool scenario, and we're seeing more and more DevOps-y scenarios coming through Logic Apps to go and help manage your Azure resources through Logic Apps. Then we got a bunch of other ones that are like Acumatica, Ali, Expiration Reminder, Lithium, Sign Now. Those are all in the hopper as well for development. It's very cool.
Okay, and then a few events that are coming up that we want to call out. The first one is there will be another global integration bootcamp. Hopefully you're already aware of that. It's on Saturday, March the 30th, 2019. It's across a whole bunch of cities globally, and we'll focus on the Microsoft integration platform. So Event Hub, Logic Apps, Service Bus, API management, data gateway to connect to on-premises assets, the capabilities we have, an integration account, and Microsoft Flow, of course, to kind of give you this full spectrum of integration on our platform. So I would encourage you to go to the Global Integration Bootcamp website and sign up and see if there's a city near you that you can participate, get some hands-on, talk to some experts in integration, and understand what we have and how to use it to your best advantage. I think that's globalintegrationbootcamp.com. Okay, the next one, which is actually started already, I think it started last week, is the Ignite Tour. This is across a bunch of cities, I think 17 or 18 cities globally over the coming months. There's been a couple already. We had one in Berlin and we had one in Brazil. Yeah. A whole bunch more coming. So hopefully they, again, coming to a city near you. You will see a Logic Apps and the other pieces of our Azure Integration Services offering, and also complementary services like functions very well represented in this, and really taking a solutioning approach to how this content is presented. So rather than just focusing on the tools in the toolbox, actually showing you the power of these things, particularly when you use them together. So again, I would encourage you, it's a free event, you can just sign up and go to this thing, but I would encourage folks to take a look and go along, and it's another way of kind of understanding what we've got, and also, you know, what you can do with it. The third thing is, yes, Integrate 2019. So this is a partner event run by COVID BizTalk 360. I guess what's new this time around is we're actually running two events, or they're running two events, and we will be there speaking at this thing as well. One in London on 3rd to the 5th of June 2019, which is like only 6 months away now, right? Close. So pretty close. So registration is open for this. And then there's another event which is run 3 weeks later here on campus in Redmond in our convention center. Again, I encourage people to take a look at the details for this, the website, and see if you can make it to that event. Obviously, this is a 3-day event with lots of content across all of our integration services, not just in Azure, but with BizTalk as well, very well represented in terms of providing the full spectrum of capabilities that we have, and not just obviously people like from the product groups from Microsoft being there, but industry experts, MVPs as well, with real world in the trenches experience of using these tools, and explaining how to use them to best effect. All right, anything else I should mention? Yeah, I think that is it. Yeah.
We had a nice ask us anything. Not that long
Twitter
ago.
so
We did last
week.
week. Yes.
And so we have some. You can go through the Twitter feed and see a lot of those answers that we've given.
Yep.
Not only for us, but for the other integration services, including APIM, Service Bus, and Event Grid. So a lot of interesting questions and good interactions.
Integration AMA, that was the hashtag. So you can look for that. And some
Yeah.
people did some great summaries of the best questions. And
So obviously you're having to take it on blind faith that we do actually have a deck. We will share this deck. This is recorded. There's a whole bunch of people online, but we'll put the deck up somewhere and add a link to it on our Twitter feed as well, so you can grab the deck and go through it. And
we'll probably add it to another stream right after this.
Yeah. Well, we'll get it to you, the content to you as well, so you can take a look at it in case you've got any questions, and just reach out as usual. It'd be great to hear from people. Any questions?
We've got a few on the live feed. Obviously, those people are there. Just post your questions, and we'll have a look. We've got Sahil asked about Monkey Connector. We've got any plans for that?
We've got a MailChimp connector.
MailChimp. Wrong monkey.
See what that's confusing.
That's a chimpanzee, not a monkey.
Yes. Pardon me.
Yeah.
AKA.ms Logic Apps -wish.
Yes.
Right.
Way to vote for those things.
Nikolai asked, is the Ignite Tour coming to Auckland, New Zealand? I think all the dates are on the website, so I don't know if
you just type in Ignite's tour.
I suspect it's more likely Sydney, to be quite honest with you. Obviously,
Yeah. I can answer that question in a few seconds.
Yes. I don't know if there is, but my suspicion is that it's not.
Sydney, Hong Kong, Seoul, Singapore, Mumbai. Close.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas we found when we've been there, it's actually really nice.
Despite popular belief, there's no
Just
bridge.
jump over the water,
bridge. Yeah. I think it's going to be the closest.
Yep. Right. When is it paid by? Expect to see me consumption based, I think.
We are still working on this. I know we talked about this a while ago. We've had some difficulties in figuring out how to enable that. We haven't forgotten about it. We know that there are people out there who are very interested in us getting this capability out. We're still working on it, but we don't have a date to share yet.
Cool. And I think unless anybody else has got any burning questions to ask,
Great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
that's it.
It was
Awesome.
fantastic to see you all.
yeah.
Just kidding.
The side of my head.
Happy holidays.
Happy
That's what I guess
holidays,
we
and
understand
hopefully everybody has a happy new year. And we'll
Yes.
see you in the new year with more stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
For the demo, what we wanted to show you was a couple things. First was the new Smart Selector. You can see here we have an MRU, the most recent connectors you've used, as well as using some artificial intelligence to analyze your Logic app and understand what the best next action that you would want to take is. So we give you some recommendations based on your previous actions. One of the things I wanted to show you was also the new HTML action that you can get to from the Send Email v2. Not all connectors have it, but those that have added the capability, you can now see that we have HTML control. Hello. Do some formatting. And we still have all the capabilities to insert jokes, and we can even right click and even do an emoji. Line and all this, right? You can send this. This is a send it to myself. So it works. Now, what's also cool about this is that this is not only a working Logic app. I'm going to execute this. And a moment later, I'll come back. And we see if it's executed. So it's sent to me an email. And that's the joke of the day. But what's interesting is if I close this, what you'll see is that this guy right here, it's running in an integration service environment. So we can go to the integration service environment and see this Logic app is actually hosted in our new, very cool integration service environment, or ICE. I go my Logic apps list here in my ICE. I see this running, and this will take me back to that Logic app. We also have VS Code. Here's that same Logic app. Not only can we see, oops, that's that same Logic app, but we've added this new ability to see it in the designer. So you can see it side by side. That same Logic app. Woohoo, pretty cool.
No, it shouldn't be.